Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode on the podcast. This is an epic conversation that I got to share with a really incredible human being, Aren, aka Ink Pray Love, when I was in Bali a couple of weeks ago. In this episode, we dive deep into going from being a drug dealer to a spiritual entrepreneur giving back to the world in some big ways, the benefits of hitting rock bottom and the lessons that come from this, expanding your emotional capacity to deal with all the things that come up in life and business, the importance of having a wide perspective and those perspective shifts that come from the challenging moments in life, self-coaching, so being able to coach yourself through whatever you're going through, and living in your Dharma, what that means and how to actually do that in your life. This was such an amazing conversation, and right from the start, you get the humor, you get the genuineness from Aren, and from someone that I just reached out to randomly on Instagram from following him for a couple of years now and loving his content. The fact that he even said yes to this and we were able to set it up in the short time frame that he had available was pretty amazing. And you know what? I say this about every episode, that this is one of my favorites. This actually is one of my favorites because this was my first one officially recorded back, and there was so much freedom and flow to this conversation, and I'm sure you're going to take that out of it too. So I really enjoyed this, and I hope you do too. Before we kick off this episode, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsors of the podcast. I still think it's freaking crazy that I have people, products, brands that want to sponsor and support the podcast, but I'm so grateful for them, and they are great brands and products that I want you all to use in your daily life as well. So first off, Sacred Cacao, one of my favorite drinks to have, and also a brand that I'm connected so closely with, as the founder is my best friend, Daniel Kosh, and we've been running cacao ceremonies and cacao parties in Melbourne and all over Australia, and New Year's we got to have our own stage DJing and sharing cacao at Lost Paradise. So really special. It's a beautiful heart-opening cacao drink. There's 5 flavors. Go check it out. Link in the bio to get your discount on that as well. Secondly, we have Shine, the natural energy nootropic. There are days where I do want that little bit of kick, a little bit of focus, and basically help in energizing and awakening my mind. I'm sure you can relate to that. Instead of switching to a not good for you product, something that will immediately lead to a crash, I switched to Shine, and they have so many incredible flavors in the range. My favorite is blue lemonade, but it's a smarter choice. Low sugar, no sugar actually, vegan, natural caffeine, no artificial sweeteners, colors or preservatives. It's got things like turmeric, ginkgo, green tea, L-theanine, just so many good nootropics that can help us think, feel, and do better in our daily life. So you can go pick this up from basically most service stations or your local supermarket as well. Go check them out. And thirdly, our most recent sponsor, the amazing Bond Charge. I have been using my blue light blocking glasses. They're the ones that are got the orange lens that help block the blue light from my devices. So I normally switch my stuff with different products and different apps to turn the blue light off. But at the same time, if I'm watching TV or I've got lights on or whatever it may be, there are so many ways that I can't block a lot of those things. And for me, I'm all about optimization. How can I sleep better? How can I feel better? And how can I not take in so much of these harmful things that are affecting our circadian rhythm and our natural essence of being? But also realizing that we're in a modern time where we do watch TV. And we do want to watch YouTube and podcasts and text and Instagram and all these things. They have so many cool products. They have red light therapy products. They have infrared sauna blankets. They have headphones that are blocking the EMF and not using Bluetooth. So many cool things and products to help you lessen the intake of these harmful things. So go check them out, bondcharge.com.au. And if you click on the link in the description below, wherever you're listening or watching, there is a discount code there for you to get some products for yourself. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I've been out of the game for a couple of months now, so I was going to say I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm not. I feel right back at home. I'm in Bali, Canggu, Bali, and while I was here, I was like, well, I want to reach out to a few people that I've been following that I think are incredible in what they're doing and what they're sharing. And I'm very blessed and very grateful to have this special guest today. So big welcome to Aren.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming to Lighthouse. We fit you in last minute here at the studio, which is great. I'm like, perfect. I'm like, I leave tomorrow to go back to Vancouver.
Wow.
And we fit it in. And I was like, I literally only have today at this time, and you made it work. So it was like perfect. And come to the studio. So I was like, perfect. It worked out. So thank you, bro.
No, thank you. And like I had this week to just chill.
Cool.
Like life's been pretty crazy the past few months, and I've got a retreat next week. So I was like, I'm going to chill. If there's some podcast opportunities, I'll take it. If not, it's all good. I'll sit by the pool and enjoy Canggu, maybe go up to Ubud, but we made this happen. So,
yeah.
I'm kind of like one of those, if there's that opportunity, I'm going to take it. Yeah. I think that's my whole life.
Same.
When I interviewed Dr. John DeMartini, the opportunity was you have to meet him at this time at his hotel room.
Yeah.
There's no other opportunity. Yeah. And I had to drive 7 hours to get there. So
I
was like, I was like, what do I do? And I was like, I've got work the next day. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you never know what's going to come from that.
I know exactly what you mean. Those are always the opportunities that like crush, that are last minute. You got to take it. You got to go for it. It's like that Eminem 8 Mile thing. This is your one shot, that whole thing. And that happened with me in LA where John Kim, the angry therapist, he wrote I Used to Be a Miserable Fuck and like 5 other best-selling books. And I got linked with him, and it was the day before I left. And it was like, yeah, we can meet tomorrow, 8 a.m., hour drive away. Like, this is the only time. And I was like, okay, like just go and make it work. And out of that came, I'm going to his Writers in the Wild book retreat to finish my book. Wow. And that happened with like a publisher there and this and that just was like, oh, that came out of that. So maybe I'll get a publisher for my book, and like it's HarperCollins, and maybe that will work because I took the chance to go meet him and make the connect. And it's so important that, people actually do that. Like, go make the connect. Don't be lazy. Don't be like, like your introvert will come out, or your like social anxiety will come out, whatever. It's like, no, go get it. Go get it. You got to do it. Risk it. Go do it. Fuck sleep. Go do it.
But I think that's like a lot of things where people, I hear the excuse of like, oh, I don't have the energy, or I don't have this or that. Like, there is so many excuses we could make for any
just
situation.
Do cocaine. Yeah. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I'm a Red Bull, okay?
Yeah. Red Bull, Shine, whatever you want to use.
Red Bull enema.
Well,
apparently.
Wow.
I don't know where that came from.
You have?
No, I have no idea. I just wonder
that's a new business.
I wonder what that'd be like. Like, to be honest, because if you drink like a beer in your butt, you get like fucked up because it surpasses your liver. So I wonder if you put a Red Bull in your butt, what would happen? Anyways, what are we talking about today?
When you try that, please let me know, because I'm gonna pass. Like, I'm willing to try the coffee enemas. And like I've heard that's where the caffeine like goes in straight away.
Yeah.
But look, I've kept things pretty PG with
your butt.
Yeah.
I feel like, because I've done a bunch of coffee enemas and I never get like a big buzz out of it.
Okay.
I just feel great after. Like, it's good for you. It's very detoxifying. It's like good for you. But I never had like wired off of one. Yeah. But I drink a lot of coffee, so maybe. But that's a lot of coffee in your butt. Anyways, so
I love it. Like, you as well as doing those things, you're also a podcaster, a speaker, a mentor, a coach, and an entrepreneur. Like, it's really impressive what you've built. And I think when people, like, I'm so grateful that social media, like the one thing I'm really grateful for is the people that I've been able to just, whether it be recommended to or it's like in that, based off your likes, this is who you'd like, to be able to follow you for quite a number of years. Like, I feel like I've been following you for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh, wow. You've seen my weird life then.
Yeah.
All the crazy shit that I've been through.
I love it. I didn't run away. Like, I still came. But, and that's been really amazing to watch that, because I feel like there is a lot of people that share, and I'm so grateful for that. It is helping the world in a lot of ways, but there's a difference between just sharing and sharing because that's the thing to do, and sharing because you have an impact and a purpose and you actually want to serve. And there's a lot of things that you do that have a big impact on the world. So I'm so grateful for that, and so in admiration of that. Can you share exactly what you do?
I'm an octopus, man. I like really that's my spirit animal. But I have tentacles in many different directions. But it broke down to I was a drug dealer for about 8 years of my life, and I was spiritually poor. I was hood rich, but spiritually poor, and that was killing me. It was crushing me. I was depressed because I really wasn't following out my dharma. I wasn't serving anything, that was outside of myself, out of monetary gains, and that was making me physically, mentally, spiritually sick. And so I needed to go down that path of spirituality to figure my shit out. And on that crazy wild path of 7 years of personal development, I meditated with like this psychic. She was cool, and she was able to see into me what my true 3 things to live by were. And that was compassion. I meant to serve. I meant to help others. I meant to give back. Inspiration. I meant to teach. I meant to help. I meant to share my story so other people can be like, okay, I can shift my life and do other things too. And connection. I'm a connector. I love to connect to people and connect people together. And my network is a result of that. Is like I have such epic friends, and those 3 things is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I can fit any career I'm into, any job, any business I launch, whatever, into those 3 things, then it's a yes. If it doesn't, and it doesn't fit into that, then it's a no. So I moved to Bali. I opened up a bed and breakfast, and that was before the psychic. And the bed and breakfast, it did well. I was a super host on Airbnb, great, cool. But I realized I didn't give a shit about beds or breakfasts, and I was like, this is dumb. There's like French people like there's a gecko in my room, and I'm like, it's Bali, bitch. Like it's not the thing, right? So it wasn't fulfilling me. And then I spoke to her and I was like, okay, I need to be doing things that align to those 3 values. So the first thing was, then I went to India, meditated on it, and had the idea for Conscious Arts Tattoo Shop, my first successful business. And it's a little small shop in Ubud, Bali, near the yoga capital area, all in that. And so I wanted, though, it needed to have those elements into it. So we funded a school for mentally disabled Balinese children to this day, and we're able to help fund them. There's other donors. We're not like the only people, but we were consistent in giving there. And that instantly made us feel great about the business. It then had this good energy around it, and we were different than everybody else. So it was the most successful shop right away in Ubud. After 6 months, I was cash flow positive from my original loan and like earning well from this little shop. And I was like, hey, this is a good business model. Like, give back and have it be a part of your brand, have it be a part of that to show people you can be an inked out weirdo and be a positive influence and help people who really need it outside of that. And I was like, I like this. It felt good. And I scaled that to Karma House Bali, a bigger shop, yoga studio upstairs, dance studio with a cafe, and then scaled that met amazing friends. My network grew, and we opened up Yogi Lab. It's an online personal development company that would give free meditation to the world. There's a breath masters training for people who want to get into breathwork facilitation, and then from that came, I think, coaching first because Corona hit. And that was devastating for my businesses. I took such a big L on that because I had brick and mortars, and you still have to pay the lease. You still have to, like, you're losing money 2 years and not earning it. So it was really difficult for my ego because I was like, I was supposed to be this Bali boss, and it's like, nope. And that was interesting. But from that, things actually shifted. So there was actually a rebirth into coaching. So I can coach business, life coaching, all my crazy life experience and the personal development that helped. I was able to then be able to help people launch businesses, build their brands, but also have the mental clarity, mindset, stress management, emotional intelligence to handle it all. And then to give back. A big part of it, I work with people who want to lead with heart, be a heart warrior. That's a new program I'm coming out with, and actually live the way of the heart warrior. And that's impact, that's inner game, that's business, like build your legacy, but have it be something that's worth it. At the end of the day, you look back at all you did, and it's like you didn't just have a business, you had a business that affected these people in a positive way. And that was like, that's the way that really shifted my life. And then from that, Lighthouse, where we are right now, this content creation, film production studio where you can come to your courses, podcasts, and there's a beautiful restaurant in here. So this place, my business partner Monty, it's his baby, but he wanted my experience of connecting my network and how to actually launch a bigger business in Bali to come into the table. So he's like, I'll give you a piece of this business if you just be you. And I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Then I got hit by a truck and broke both my legs, my pelvis, my elbow, my Achilles, and my bladder riding my Ducati down the highway, not speeding, just chilling. And this guy pulled out without looking. And it's 100% this kid's fault. And that was another death and rebirth as well. I was handicapped for a year. I was in a wheelchair for 3 months. I was on crutches for 8 months, and on a cane for a month and a half or something. And just now I can walk again. And there's a couple more surgeries to go, but that was like, holy fuck, And then through that, I moved back to Vancouver for the surgeries. I had 5 here, holy shit, and then 2 there, and I opened up another tattoo shop there. It just fell into my lap. And one of my friends was like, I want to start a business and change his life around. He was kind of in my old line of work. And he was like, I'd like to open a shop. And I'm like, I'll help you for free. I just want you to do your thing. Like, I just want to see you succeed. He's like, how about I'll pay for everything, give you half the business to help me launch it? I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Great deal.
Yeah. And then another thing was a luxury car rental company, Sigma Motor Group, where we have like McLarens and R8s and G-Wagons and stuff. And we'll have that. And I just put together and connected it and be a connector. I think the point of that all is that you can just train yourself enough and develop yourself enough to then be a business of being you from your experience and what the skills you've developed. I didn't go to business school. I dropped out of high school like in grade 12. I was kicked out. I was a bad kid. And so it gives hope to all the fuck ups out there, all the black sheeps, that you can bring the flock together, being the black sheep, by developing yourself and investing in your own development. That was like, oh, cool. I can launch 8 businesses in 8 years by just investing in my personal development. And that does pay off. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. Oh, and I started a podcast while I was in Vancouver. Yeah. So while I was recovering from dying and being pretty handicapped, I launched 3 projects in that time. So that was cool. It kept me busy. Yeah.
It sounds like you're just like wired to see opportunities, and that also I think comes from like a natural state of ambition. Like I want to help in so many different ways, and I can relate. I'm very similar in terms of so many companies and businesses I've started over the years, and especially during these times where the rock bottoms happen or the terrible moments. That's when I'm going through one at the moment, right? So this pivot that you can make, it's either like you can let it hold you back, like a lot of things that have happened to you, or you can use that as fuel to go, I can move forward from this and I can create something different. The personal development side is really interesting on this, like the self work that you were talking about. Was it a matter of those events happening and then I need to work on myself, like the car accident? Like a lot of people will, I'm sure social media, all of that would be like, oh, the universe is trying to tell me something. Is it a matter of that, or is it a matter of, okay, this is what's just happened and now I need to move forward from it? Which one was it for you?
Both. For sure, both. I mean, it started when I was like, I'm going to end up a fucking loser, when I was not wanting to be a drug dealer anymore. I was addicted to drugs and I wanted to be a good person, and I didn't even care if I was rich anymore. I was like, whatever, man, as long as I'm happy and I'm healthy and I'm alive and I'm not shot or overdose or, arrested. I'm like, no, I need to be a good person now and just do that. And I made a point to the universe for that. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be this guy. And then the universe responds to that. And I was still developing myself because I needed to. I was like, what skills do I have? Just like I can turn 1 kilo into 2, but like then I had to really look at it was, I'm able to connect people well. I audited my skill set because you can transfer your skills, and you might not originally think that, but everything you've been through, including the trauma, is a skill set that you can use. So when the accident happened, though, I knew I called that in because I was moving too fast in too many directions, but not following my Dharma. I was like bored during, COVID. I was coaching, but also like I got a Ducati. I was dating models, and it was just not exactly aligned to my like highest path. And I remember thinking the week before, I'm like, man, I got to switch things up and slow down. I'm beginning to feel not happy again. Like I was beginning to feel it creeping in. Then you get hit by a truck. But I knew, as you do, I knew this happened for a reason. And as soon as it happened, and they scraped me off the pavement. I was awake the whole time during it, bone sticking out of my leg, bleeding out, artery got severed in my leg. It was nuts. So I really almost died. I almost bled to death. That's how I almost died. And when I'm in the ambulance, I looked up at the ambulance ceiling and I was like, okay, like I get it. I'm sorry. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. I actually apologized for being hit by a truck because I knew it was my karma, and that I'll be like, I'll use this, and like, I just, please don't let me be paralyzed for life. Like, please, I'll be good. I go, I'll be good. I'll be good. Please don't let me be paralyzed for life. And I recommitted to my values, and I recommitted to the work. And I knew my business partner Dave from Yogi Lab. He said, I don't know, we got into like a fight a long time ago, or like, I think I was going through a rough breakup, and it was just some shit where he's like, how you handle this is going to say a lot about you. And I was like, oh, that came through during the accident. So I was like, okay, handle this in a way that will say good things about you to yourself, that you're going to be proud. So when crazy shit happens to you, it's your chance to, don't let it break you, let it make you. And so how you show up to this fucked up situation can make you who you are. So let it make you be somebody you're proud of. And I was like, yeah, that's how I'm going to do this. And also, I'm not going to be a whiny bitch about it. I'm going to handle this like a boss, because that's who I wanted to be. And so this whole accident thing, which the most crazy thing to be like, I couldn't get off the toilet by myself. I couldn't get into bed alone. My friends had to pick me up like a baby and put me in bed. Very like ego death. It was extremely challenging. And I had to really look at that. I'm like, well, who am I again? And I was like, okay, I'm a warrior. I can get through this. I can get through this and still smile. Comedy is a big part of my life, right? I'm a ridiculous person, and I want to be that even when I'm depressed, even when I'm in insane amounts of pain, I'm going to laugh through this. And I was cracking jokes in the hospital. I was cracking jokes during the surgery. I'm like learning better Indonesian while I was in the hospital, and like cracking jokes with the nurses, which was a hilarious experience because it's 17 days. I didn't see the sun. I'm in bed. I can't move. And the nurses are in their like full COVID gear. Like you could just see their eyes, right? They're like masks and like hazmat suits pretty much. It was the weirdest thing, right? To then try to get some humanity out of them and joke around a little bit, So life does, they say, happen for you. If you let it happen to you and you don't make meaning out of it, you can easily be a victim. That's where the victim mindset lives. And does life happen to us or for us? I don't fucking know. But if we can make meaning out of it, that empowers our belief system, that allows us to live a better lifestyle, why wouldn't you do that?
And there was so many like moments in that you probably, like you were saying, like those moments happened. I'm sure there were times where you're like, this is pretty fucked up.
Many times.
I might like
many times
may not make this through. And I love that you say on your Instagram, you're like, I was fucked up.
Yeah.
And those situations that happen, like I don't, no one journals, I want this to happen today.
Yeah.
But we call in, I want the greatest lessons. I want to grow. I want to be this type of person.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot, because I run coaching program or mentoring programs, events, retreats, all those things. So for me, I think one of the biggest ones is being real and raw like yourself, and sharing the truth of it, where it's like, I don't ask for the rock bottoms to happen, but I know that from those, there's something I'm going to learn and use to move forward.
Well, it sounds like you do, though, live the path of personal development. So you ask to grow. And obviously growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. And I felt like hit like a bit of like a spiritual plateau, because the first 5 years in Bali, like I grew like a rocket ship because I was a drug addicted drug dealer. Fucking the only way is up after that. I mean, it's like not like I started at a high level. And so my growth was quite rapid as I was extremely dedicated to work. But then COVID hit, and I kind of got comfortable. Like right before COVID, I was kind of like already feeling a bit full of myself, in the sense that like I accomplished some shit. I did well, like good job you. And I took a bit of a break in my development, and that was then causing an undercurrent of depression. And I was like, oh, like nothing's moving, I'm stagnant. And I wanted and the same patterns of like the things I really need to work on within myself were coming up again and again. And I'm like, when the fuck will I just get over this? Like, and I was like, I hit a spiritual plateau. I just want to break through this. And that turned into breaking a lot of bones in my body. But then it helped me, man. I wouldn't say I'd do it again, because I don't want that to happen to me again, but I'm glad it happened because of the upgrades that I got in my self-love, perseverance, belief in myself, mindset. I'm not scared of much anymore. I'm just like, yeah, I can handle this. I know what I'm made out of, and that's why it was a net positive. So like anybody who's gone through some crazy shit, and I want to ask you, when you said you're in a bit of a rock bottom right now, like, just knowing you're here right now to have a podcast, already you've made it out of something crazy. Like you've survived whatever you've been through. Yeah. Anybody that has some serious trauma, hey, you survived enough to listen to this. Good job. Hey, you're here. that's a win right then in itself. You can be proud. You are here right now, and you made it through what you've been through, and you didn't crumble as a human, even if you're still hurt. Because we all have hurt inside of us. We all have trauma and the aching and the depression, and just like, yeah, it hurts to go through shit. That's just life. But we can use the hurt, and then we can also be grateful that we didn't die. You're still here. So that's a win right there, guys. Good job.
Yeah. I guess that's alchemy in itself, is like knowing that there's always something inherently good or a lesson or something to come out of every experience. I then question, is it a matter of we wait for those things to happen, or can we be more proactive? Like, for example, do I wait to get hit by a truck? Like, I know people are thinking that, like, they're waiting for this, like, something big needs to happen.
Yeah.
So, for example, they could be in a stagnant job, stagnant relationship, and waiting for, well, I hope, my boss just fires me, because then it'll just be done. I hope that my partner cheats or leaves me, because then it's done. Is like, things are going to happen, but do you see it as like, when you're not getting hit by a truck, can you make decisions that then allow you to let's say upgrade?
Fucking rights, man. Like, look at how many people don't work on their health until they're sick. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. So, you don't take your health really seriously until you got cancer, and then you got to like super dive into your health and you healed your cancer. Great. Look what it all gave you. But what about if you consistently work on your health as part of your life? You're going to have a way easier time. You don't have to get hit by a truck then. That's fucking great. So I think continuously growing and working as a hire coach, like they'll show you, if it's a good coach, they'll show you what you need to work on, and that could be the thing that you have to go through. That's like, oh shit, you got reality right there, mirror. Or go have ecstatic experiences in the sense of doing breath work or things that are outside of your comfort zone that'll push you to a certain space. You can scramble your own eggs without having to get hit by a truck in a controlled setting, like a controlled shakeup. That's what I think would be the way better option to do it, is like, go to a retreat, go seek the development before it seeks you on 4 wheels.
And I feel like for me, over the years, like, I know I had a really powerful experience coming to an event with Joel Brown.
Oh yeah, I love Joel. Yeah, he's my buddy.
And that was 5 years ago. Yeah. And that was, for me, it was really outside my comfort zone of, I don't have the money for this. I had to borrow money off a friend. Yeah. I had to do what I had to do to get there, because I knew going there, I'm not enjoying what I was doing in life. I wasn't doing anything that I hated, but it was like, I know there's more for me. And in that search was like, I didn't have any kind of crazy experiences here. I had a beautiful experience, but coming by myself, meeting those people, I went from that experience and went, okay, that's the inspiration to change. And I feel like there's either the two sides that we gain that direction from. It's either the pain of something happening to us or the inspiration to then change. And for me, that was the inspiration point. And, very similar to what you were saying before, like when you feel like you're on that, not living your Dharma, and you're doing things, you're doing good things, but it doesn't feel, you could say, aligned to that Dharma. For you, was it a matter, were you stuck in that for a while?
Yeah, a little bit. I was in a pretty deep depression around COVID. Yeah, that was hard. I wasn't making any money. I was just living on savings, still paying out for 2 businesses and staff. Like it was challenging mentally for me. And I could see like, hey, there's something stagnant. And I feel like that's when we should all be looking at that, when you feel like you're not growing, because life is all about growth and decay. You're either growing, plants or trees, or, things are growing or they're dying, because it's a circle of life, right? The seasons. So that's just how the universe works. So choose growth. Like it's either you're growing as a human or you're declining. So we need to, there's no like middle path there. I feel like it's either it's just choose the growth path. That's just the way to live, Yeah, it's wild. What I want to ask you though, when you were saying you're going through a rock bottom, if you don't mind sharing, or if you want to keep it personal, you can. But I'm curious, what's going on for you?
Yeah, so the past couple of years, I like during COVID.
It is
Google,
COVID. Yeah.
Pivoted really well, everything online, and then coming out of that, started running a lot of events, started putting myself a lot out there, whether on social media, all of that. Started to build a really good community, couple of thousand. Had that business partner then want to take me to court over different views about COVID and that whole situation.
Oh no.
Can talk about that now because we're out of contract. But that was interesting because it was like, well, I did all this work and now I have to close everything. Had to rebrand, had to do everything. So come out of that and then started to rebuild again out of like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I met some really cool people and started helping them with their stuff because of that, shout out to Sacred, Dan Kosh, a cacao brand. So we started running ceremonies and full moon cacao parties, which is like sober partying. I used to be a DJ, so did he. So we just started having fun, and from there started coupling that with like breathwork, meditation, all these things that I teach as well. Then launched my wellness company, Sala, and kind of rode this sort of high of like launching, and then kind of expectations and things weren't met and kind of declining. So for me, it was like, oh, I thought this was the thing. Yeah. And it felt really good, and I'm always willing to try things, right? Yeah. Felt really good, but then, a lot of things happened, and it kind of had to take a step back. And development was going to cost tens of thousands to fix a lot of the app. Yeah. So then for me, it was I shut off a lot of the things that I love doing, even the podcast, turned them down to focus on this thing that I was really excited about. And you could say shiny object, but I'm kind of like yourself, an octopus. I've got many of those tentacles out there, and started writing that, and then kind of had that lull again. Then you've got life, then you've got relationships, then you've got all these things that kind of mixed in there. And I feel like for me, I'm at a point where only maybe, look, there's a lot that's happened in here, and I do feel okay sharing it. I had a friend take their life, which isn't the first time that's happened around me, but pivotal points. A situation I can't share, but very personal and very like a very hard decision that wasn't mine to make. Okay. And then on top of that, I started a wellness studio in my hometown of Mildura where I'm living, and it didn't go the way that I wanted to. Yeah. There was a lot in the red. Yeah. So that, and then financially being in the red, like it was just like, man, I'm 29. I've done all this work. I've been running really successful programs for 6 years now. And now I'm back in this point again. And it's, again, I know the calling is there's something here that's trying to tell me and teach me, and what lesson haven't I learned? And I sat down with my mate Dan, and we worked out in terms of the business, it was like, even everything, all the projects, we put them all on a whiteboard. We love our whiteboard sessions. Yeah. So we put everything out, and we put, which ones do you actually love? And it was, the content that I was sharing. I was posting on social media 4 or 5 times a day. Had stopped doing that. I hadn't posted for 3 months. The podcast, similar to yourself, compassion, inspiration, and connection are some of my highest values as well. Yeah. So for me, it was like, this is what lights me up. There was no monetary to this. Like, if anything, it's costing me to be in Bali and all these things. But your network led to all the things that I had in my life. And I'd stopped doing that. I started focusing on that. I had to pick up a job to cut some slack, and it was full stress mode. My body broke out in a huge rash because of it. Wasn't eating well, was drinking more alcohol. And not looking after myself. And I'm supposed to be, practice what I preach. And I fell into a cycle for, a good 4 months.
This is just life, though. I think people hold like coaches at, of course, you got to be at high regard, but we're humans too. And shit happens, right? It's just part of the game. So whenever I have something come to this, like literally, I've been going through it right now, the same similar thing where I was like, man, coming back to Bali was a little traumatic for me. There was a lot in my businesses that I've been gone for 10 months. I needed to like do some serious repairs and just stuff like that. And I was feeling like I got too much shit on my plate and I'm stressed. And it happened. And I was like, that's just like, it's part of that we all go through human shit. And it's not so much how you fall off. It's just how quickly you get back on. That was the thing, I'm just going to give our videographer a mint because I think he's dying of his coughing. I was like, this guy, you got it, bro. this guy back there, like, and I'm just like, he needs something. It's fucking you got it. He's fucking distracting, man. So that's so important that to have that. So simplicity is the highest form of sophistication, as Leonardo da Vinci would say, and it's like, we need that in our life. We need to be keep it simple when things get messy. And things get messy, and that's kind of what I was seeing out of that. So, I think that's a good thing for you that you've been doing that now to to get here, to find intention again, to heal it up, to not force things. And then look, when you not force things, but you still go after an opportunity that your intuition says yes on, I think that's when the best things like come out of it.
Yeah.
But business is stressful, man. Like that, it's stressful. Yeah. It's I'm the nice guy. I don't want to fire people, and like I don't want to like make sure people were on time. Like, you know, that's like not my archetype. I'm the fun uncle. I'm not like the dad, you know. I think you're about to save, you know. So it's like that stuff is stressful for me, and having the right business partner is super important, right? And I think a lot of people who are listening, that if you're an entrepreneur, have that mindset, and yeah, you want to do things with people who are fun. Like, of course, you want to love who you're working with, but don't work with the same person like you. You need the opposite. Like that's why me and Monty do so good together. He's the hard ass, you know. He's the dad, and I'll be like the fun uncle coming in and buffing everybody up and bringing in the connections and just like, you know, that the ideas generating, you know, creative. Whereas I need those analytical, hard ass, boring people in my life, you know. I need those guys. No, boring, I'm just kidding, but I need those people. I won't start a business anymore without having one of those those characters in the field, because if they're not fully aligned in our viewpoints, I don't actually like them. Like I need to want to hang out with them, but also they need to complement my strengths, right? Because breakups in business, they're like breakups in partnerships. A little less hurting, but they suck. They're more financially hurting than like, you know, heartbreak, but it still sucks, right? What have you been doing now to kind of get through it? Like, how do you feel now coming out of that, or where you at?
This is the thing. I've landed in Bali Monday.
Oh, okay, shit. Okay.
And I feel so like my rash is cleared up.
Yeah.
I'm feeling so much more grounded. And part of me was like, don't run away.
Yeah.
Don't just like, because for me it was like, oh man, this retreat got told Friday that the retreat's not running anymore. So crazy. So having to like just go through everything else that was happening, because it was just like things were starting to add up. And I share this and try and be as honest about it as I can, because I know a lot of people would also be feeling.
People need to hear this shit. They need to hear it's not always perfect for the Instagram coach. Like shit happens, and how we go through it will say a lot about us.
Yeah. And for me, it was, that's why I took that time off.
Yeah.
Like focusing on all those things, and people were like, are you okay? Normally you post a lot. And for me, it was, no, I need that time for me. And I needed to go through that period. And now it's like, I'm not on the other side of it. I'm still in it, but being here, well, Bali is pretty sacred. It's either going to show you one side or the other.
It's going to show you some shit.
Yeah. But for me, every time I have come here, I feel super grounded. I feel relaxed. I feel just space to breathe. And I think, you know, I haven't put pressure on, like, again, this was like opportunity. Great, I'll take it. But if you had said no, I would have been like, okay.
Yeah.
Like there's no, there's nothing that I'm expecting out of this trip.
I just liked how you approached me in it. Like guys, if you want to reach out to somebody, this is how you do it. It's just like, hey, I like the thing that you just did. I also want to get a tattoo at your business. I'm like, okay, great. But then also like you have a podcast, and it's like, oh, cool, man. Like, well, just the energy in what you wrote it at was grounded and playful and sweet. So I was like, that's the vibe. But you know, there's people that approach it. Instagram is like we were saying, it's amazing. It's connecting the world, that we can have all these awesome international friends that inspire us that we've even never met before. Yeah. And then you're in their town, same time, same place, and you can link up. You built rapport already, and that's the like huge thing. How I built my network so quickly was also I lived in Bali for 7 years, and this is the place where a lot of these people want to come to. So I'm just here owning a business here. You get to meet so many people through that, so that's awesome. And then actually connecting, you know, I think the most annoying thing is when people message just hey. That's a very Indian person. I have so many Indian followers. God bless India. Thank you so much. But don't just say hey with no context. You know, that just bothers the shit, especially busy people. Like, you don't just say hey or hey, how's it going if we don't know each other. Yeah. But in the sense of, hey, I like what you do, compliment, build rapport. Then I have this thing, and would you like to do it? Like, clearly get to the point, you know? So I think that's a really good way for people to reach out, and then you take the chance, like you go for it. And I think that's really important for people. I mean, we've been bringing this up a few more times in this podcast, is just go for it. Life is short. So what if you get rejected? That's fine. It's okay. I wanted to have Dr. Gabor Mate on my podcast, and I got connected to him through email. So I'm talking, he's a hero for me. Like, this guy's amazing, an addiction specialist. He's the shit. And he didn't have time this year. He's like, I'm booked out for the entire year. I'm like, how about next year? He's like, okay,
Yeah.
just message me next year. I'm like, okay, and I'm like, sure, So you gotta get in where you fit in. Same with Aubrey Marcus. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll be on your podcast, but his schedule's crazy, so I'm gonna have to be a little persistent, but in a nice way without being annoying. And like, all these things. It's funny how it works. And then there's levels to it. And there's people who want me on their podcast, and it's like, yeah, if it's aligned, firstly, and if you ask in a nice, like in a proper way, but if I have time for it, but I think that's a really important thing to go and approach, like to make the ask in a way. And maybe it's not a right now, maybe it's a bit later, but you made the effort. Like, the effort matters. Don't worry about being rejected. Like, I'm not worried that Gabor was like too busy for me. It was like, yeah, okay. It wasn't like a fuck you. It's just like
could you imagine?
Yeah, right. Dr. Gabor Mate just responded, fuck you.
Even if you were just like, nah, man, fuck you. I respect. At least you're honest about it. Like, you're in your values, man.
Spiritual coach. Fuck you.
But I think, like, even for me, like, even this right now, like, that was that intention of being here and being like, I need to connect. And again, that was my own self-awareness after a long time of being like, this isn't me. I'm feeling the not looking after myself, not living in my purpose, and not living in my values. So coming here was like, okay, reset. Do I think it needs a trip to Bali to do that? Hey, why not? It's a beautiful place to come to. But I think there needs, like, for me, it was like, this has become like a catalyst for me to meet people, connect with people, but connect back to myself. And I'm not doing, well, I never know. It's still got a week and a half here, but anything outside of just, chill. There's nothing planned.
Red Bull Anima.
Sure. But I think that's where I'm starting to feel so much better.
Yeah.
Because even just sitting on the plane and like writing down, okay, I'm very ambitious. There's a lot of things I want to do. But even just writing it down and going, okay, where are the areas of my life I want to focus on? What impact? How does that impact other people? Does that excite me? Yeah. Because if I put down all the things I've been doing the past 3 months, it was like, oh, that's not exciting. Yeah. It was just getting by. And that was never me, and nothing I ever wanted to stay in for a long time.
When you're feeling like that, was that when you started drinking a bit more?
Well, I was working at a bar, so like that. I was the bar manager, so and it was my sister's restaurant. So it was a good job.
It's easy to drink more in those situations,
tasting things, but it happened before that. That was just in there as well. Yeah. And I feel like for me, it was like, well, I don't normally drink, so I might as well have a drink, see what people are talking about. Not too far, but just a drink here and there. And I'm very good at. No, we all have some sort of addictions, but of course, all of us I'm not like, for me, alcohol, it's just like, oh, I can have a drink and I can stop. Yeah. So that for me didn't lead into anything more, but it was kind of like, because I've done a lot of the work and man, it was just something inside of me that was like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, even just like, I've done a lot of mirror work, looking in the mirror and being like, look what you look like. Yeah. I used to be a semi-pro athlete, like soccer player in Europe. To be out of shape, to not to like be very unhappy with what I'm doing. Yeah. That's not me.
I know exactly what you mean. I've been going through it because I just opened a new business and I had to renovate it in Vancouver. And so I was there like grinding it out to make it happen because we were like way over deadline and budget. So I was grinding to get this thing done. And Vancouver has great weed, like it's everywhere. And all my friends are stoners out there, and a lot of them are ex-drug dealers, and we were all just stoners together. And now I'm like, man, when I smoke weed, I eat too much. Like, I just love munching out. Like, it's like that's the thing. I will smoke weed to eat because I'm excited to eat at fancy restaurants when I'm high. It's just fun, right? But then I'm like, this is very counterproductive for me wanting to be in good shape. And also, your stomach's your gut brain. That's your second brain right there. If you put shit into it, you'll think shitty thoughts. And I was getting like feeling low, right? And I came out here and I was feeling really overwhelmed. And like, there was so much, there was trauma from the roads, the accident. I had been back here. I had been on a scooter since, back here on a scooter, back here, on the roads. And then the healthcare system or the banking system is a massive headache. And then my other business had a leak in the roof. And then the manager I was supposed to hire as a Western manager to take over, actually being there on site at Karma House. Yeah. She quit, like just landed. We were planning this for 4 months and I was going to train her while out here. So we aligned our times and she quit when she got here because she needed to find herself. I'm like, fucking serious? You know? And she quit while my truck broke down. So I have like a little mini monster truck here, and the camshaft broke, and I was supposed to drive that the whole trip. It was the first day here. So I got hit with just a tsunami of shit. And then I got a rental car and hit a hidden pothole, the roads in Bali infrastructure, popped the tire, you know, and then got my friend to come help fix the tire while I had to go to a podcast here. And then the next day I'm driving through, some guy walks without looking into the road and clips the mirror, breaks the mirror, the side mirror. And I'm just like, okay, what's going on here, right? What's going on here? I'm not feeling good. I'm mentally, you know, feeling overwhelmed. I have anxiety. I'm not an anxious guy. I'm more like prone to depression than anxiety, but like I was just like, something's off. And it was really weighing on me, I'm like, okay, something needs to change right now. So I coached myself. And I think this is a beautiful thing I think you've been doing as well is, okay, if you're going through it, be your own coach. Be like, tap into your highest self. So just sit there by yourself and actually run yourself a session where you're like, okay, bro, what's the problems? What's going on? And I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. The business stuff isn't going right now. There's a lot of resistance here in Bali. You know, things are just weighing on me. Why? And I'm like, okay, I feel out of alignment. I feel like my life's too complicated right now. I feel like I'm not connected to my spiritual practice enough. I've been traveling. I've been, you know, in transit. There's things here that I'm just kind of like fucking around on. Okay, there's your problems. Now, what are your solutions? It's like, well, what always worked for me is simplify. Stop saying yes to things that aren't directly involved in your success and mission and that. Stop drinking so much, stop smoking so much weed. Like, hey man, get back to you being a machine that gets up early and trains and meditates and breathes and plans his day tight and executes fully. Like, okay, eat well, eat better. Like, it's simple, 3D shit and spiritual shit. It's okay. And then I'm like, okay, what are your action steps? Like actual clear deliverables. I'm like, okay, then I'm going to get back into being a yogi as soon as I get back to Vancouver. I'm going to get the stuff I need to get done here. So I got a list. I'm going to check off that list of things that are like have to happen before you go. So there's not just this big cloud of chaos of kind of shit happening. It's do this and then do this and then do this. And that immediately took away this overwhelm for me because I was just like, at least I got a plan. Yeah. It ain't pretty. Things are stressful, but follow your plan, bro. And I was like, oh, okay. And as soon as you make a decision, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do this. And you make a decision on the stressful things that are like, man, I'm going to have to give up equity in my shares in Karma House so I can have my friend's management and business incubator take it over. So while I'm not going to be living in Bali anymore, I have people running the business, but it's going to cost me 20% of my shares. I'm like, damn, I own 50% of that business. So I'm losing my majority in that. But we're going to scale the brand and put out tattoo artist trainings. We're going to scale and we're going to scale the business and have more locations. Yeah. So I'm okay, net positive. And I get to see my baby grow rather than it being like my neglected child. You know, I'm not out here. I'm a bad dad right now. I'm the uncle. Okay. I ain't your real father. No, really, I just needed to like, okay. And so that's what I did out of that situation. And I started feeling better right away. I think a lot of people can benefit from that. If you not feeling well about what you're doing, coach yourself to make a plan. And as soon as you have the plan, you just make it one thing to do each day to follow the plan. Don't overwhelm where you have to finish your whole plan in one day or 1 week. Yeah. It's at least you not ticked off one action step each day. So you know you won that day because you did a thing. And that could be in health, wealth, family, spirituality. You worked on your health when you got up, mental health, physical health, wealth, you're ticking one box in your business so you keep going forward. Family, friends, community, you're maintaining a relationship or a connection that means something to you. And spirituality, you had some time to yourself, to connect to yourself, which is, of course, God. It's running through you. And that was like my framework I give to a lot of my clients. And I had to run it on myself because us coaches forget, like, who coaches us? So, well, we get coaches, of course, but you can coach yourself. And that then further strengthens your trust with your own integrity and your own value that you have within, to then the care that you give outwards, give it to yourself. And that was my process. I went through this like last week, bro. So yeah. it was on my head too,
And I think like even that point of like, do the simple things. And I think, in a world where, and I host all these things, so I know it. Like this morning, we jumped in the ice bath. Like I run those weekly in Melbourne and Mildura. So for me, it's like you can do as many of those things, but also come back to the simple things that give back to you. Yeah. And can go on the retreats. But also it's the consistent things, like the little things that you're doing. And like you said, like, are you eating well? Like, if the answer is no to that, that's going to cause all heaps of other problems. Your mindset's not going to be as well because you're doing that. If you're drinking too much, all of these things play into itself. And I don't think it's about like, I don't say I've ever been the perfect human, but the more I stick to that daily wellness or whatever it may be, the more I feel better. You know, if I look back and I go, like, I'm a meditation teacher, right? So I run 6 classes a week.
Wow.
How many times have I meditated in the past month? Twice.
Yeah.
Like it's, and then I look at that and I go, well, what was I doing when I felt really good, when I was on purpose and all of that? And I think that's just been the big check-in. Life happened and I just went along with it, with all these things and just going, oh, okay, I'll bring myself back, or I'll do this because I have to. And yes, but also, how long am I going to live like that?
Yeah.
And my thing is like, you know, the whole Gary V mentality of, you know, you're alive for only this amount of time, make the most out of it. And I think it also, for me, has come with some hard decisions on whether it's letting people go, changing a whole business model that's not for other people, not it is for other people because it's going to impact people, but not helping them. It's actually going to help me, which then helps them. So changing a model that wasn't working. So yeah, it's been a lot of, especially as a business owner, it's like you've got the pressure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You've got the, you know, if it goes wrong, the people that work for you, it doesn't really affect, but it affects you. So for me, it's like, okay, just taking that real big step back, and it's been amazing to do that. And I love that you're going through it as well, because it's like super
it's relevant.
relatable, but
it's
like
really relevant.
A lot of people will.
Yeah.
I think one thing you mentioned before was in taking that awareness back into yourself, and going back onto your Dharma, right? And a lot of people might not know what that is, and I'd say go check it out, or if you've got a short explanation.
Your Dharma is your life path and your purpose in life. So it's what you're truly meant to be doing. And, you know, a lot of people be like, well, I don't really know. And that's okay to not know, but I like to think it back on, you know, what do you think your unique gift for the world is? You know, what do you think that the true essence of you that brings value, that, you know, all of your closest friends would say like, oh, this guy's about that. He's about connection and laughter and community. Great. But also helping people. It's like, okay, so that's your Dharma, is to be the essence of you that is your unique gift to the universe. The universe needs you. The world needs you. This all cannot exist without you playing your part in it. You are a part of the fabric of reality. And so you need to be living yourself truest of you, not playing somebody else, not playing what you think Instagram's gonna like, or not playing what you think, you know, is just gonna make your parents happy, but you're fucking miserable. You know, it's like you need to be doing what you do to the fullest of you. So live it in your fullest expression, but yeah, that comes with effort. That does come with effort. You can't just coast. So that's important, because if you just coast, it's that decay. But the growth is pushing you to the fullest. That Gary Vee thing, yeah, we only live once. We need to live this life and use it all up. Eat the whole plate. Don't leave anything on that plate. You want to really live your life, right? And so that Dharma thing, it's so important, because usually your Dharma is to be an important place in this world in what you do. So how are you going to help? How are you going to help this reality? You know, what's your role here to make it a little bit better? And I feel like that's a big question, you know. And so I know my Dharma was give, connect, inspire. I'm meant to be out there to be helping people to get through their shit and live a happier life and, you know, impact. And that's like that makes me excited. And that's why I know it's a part of my Dharma, because I've had so much crazy shit to go through. My life's been so weird, you know. I've been stabbed in sword fight robberies, and I've been hit by trucks, and I've, you know, launched business, left the dope game, and, you know, met Mexican cartel members, and then, you know, gone to probably 10 Vipassana meditation retreats, and just all this stuff that like weird 2 yoga teacher trainings. It's just like weird contrast of life. But I'm meant to that, because, you know, my journey is the medicine to serve other people. And that's what everyone else is also. So what you've been through is also part of your Dharma. Well, that's your karma, but also that is what you're meant to then bring of value to other people and help, right?
So should everyone be a coach?
Yeah, no. But they could help the world in their own way.
And I feel like that's really beautifully said, like, and also acknowledging that it could be you're the best primary school teacher and you're there for those kids. That's your Dharma.
Exactly.
It's not this what's on Instagram.
No.
unless you're making 6-7 figures, then you're not a boss bitch. And I go, okay.
That whole boss bitch movement, I love it because it's empowering women. Like I like it, but it's also funny when you see things get like carried away, you know, in every sense of the way. Coaches and the boss bitch movement and all these things, and it's just like no judgment. It's just funny to watch.
It is,
yeah.
And I have so many friends that have done this, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the piss, and they know it as well. It's when it's happening when they post a photo where it's like a blazer but no shirt underneath, so it's very like, be your true self. And I'm like, okay, well, does that mean we've got to wear no bras underneath our blazer?
Or
so
like
I'm gonna do one that's like a
do a spoof
parody
of that.
to
Wear
it.
your butt in a thong,
Yeah,
and then write a Rumi quote underneath it. That's my favorite one. I love
have
that.
you? Okay, so this is an interesting one. Didn't know it was going to go this far. Rumi, do you know there's a poem by Rumi about a zucchini and a donkey?
What? No. Lay it on.
Okay, look it up.
Okay.
And I'm going to invite everyone to look it up because I don't want to butcher it on this podcast, but there's a lot of inspiration from it. But when I heard it was by Rumi, I said, no, it's not, because it's very like R-rated. And it was written 600 years ago, and it's very graphic.
What the
in what
fuck?
he writes. So now you're going to look it up,
Yeah.
and so is everyone else. So how's that for pitching a poem?
I fucking have to hear that.
But it's
I
a
have
great
to-
business analogy.
Okay.
The moral of that is, yeah, it doesn't ruin the story, is that no one sees the behind the scenes of what's happening.
This donkey can have a zucchini in its ass, and you're like, what?
Go look it up and see.
Yeah,
but no one sees that back end of it. And like,
Yeah.
you know, we look at your profile, right? And super inspired. You do amazing things. I also see, because I'm in the industry, is where you actually do share the real shit. And obviously we're on Instagram. We're going to share the wins. We're going to share the cool things that we're doing, and the ways that we're impacting, and some information for other people to do it. Like, that's part of your Dharma and what has created a powerful brand that you have. But the other side, the back end of it, is like we're talking about before, like the business stresses and all those things. Like, I think that people have an expectation is, if I go into personal development, things are just going to go up and things are going to be smooth and life's going to get better. And I go, well, yeah. And it does get better because you're striving towards a life that you want, but also hopefully acknowledging the gratitude of where you are along that path.
That part sucks because you have to really like have a clear take on your reality and actually see that you fucked things up. And like, it's easier to be like, it's not my problem, I'm great. You know, there's so many
It wasn't
people-
me, it was them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just bypass everything where they don't want to be the issue. And I feel like this is a lot in like the older generation, because they didn't have the shadow work. They didn't have access to the personal development. So it's so much easier for them just to like, no, I'm fine. I'm
But it's
good.
happening now.
No, of course, this is a human thing.
This is a retrograde thing.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, it's the moon's fault.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, I'm all into all this. Or I'm an ENFPJHK. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a Taurus.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't be this.
Of
I
course.
can't do that. Oh, that's why you're a manifesting generator. That's why you're good in business. Yes, I use all these things, but not as an excuse.
No. You have to have fucking agency and responsibility. And that's what I meant was, it sucks because at the start, the first principles of most personal development, and pretty much all of it, is have agency and responsibility of what you've done. Like, that's the first thing. I did this plant medicine iboga, and that's how I got out of the no. This is an African root, like the African ayahuasca, except it's horrible in the sense that
I'm thinking of Cambo.
Yeah. There's Cambo, there's Bufo, those are the toad ones. Very different things. But iboga is an African plant root from the Gabon region, and man, it's like being put into a washing machine, and because it cleanses you, it's a habit interrupter. So anyone who's really addicted to opiates or any drug or cigarettes or whatever, it's a habit interrupter, and it'll cleanse your body. It's not easier than going through withdrawals, but it's pretty damn effective because it's a ceremony. You go through it ritualistically, but it's like you're looping. Like you can't move. If you move, you throw up. So you just sit there and take it, and it's. I had this like looping karmic like oversight, because like, you know, ayahuasca is like the grandmother. This is like your stern father telling you how much of a fuck up you've been over and over again. This is my experience, right? And I still had the audacity to think I could still be a drug dealer and not do drugs, because I went to do iboga because I was deeply addicted to drugs, doing about like 15 to 20 grand a month worth of drugs. It was hectic. I don't know. I'm a tank, but like, I don't know how I didn't die. And obviously because I had just Dharma to help people. But so I was doing really hectic amount of drugs. And so I was doing this iboga, and I still wanted to be a drug dealer after, because I was addicted to the money more than anything. The money gave me status, gave me power. I felt like I was a somebody. The validation of that money was power. Oh wow, I can just buy anything I want. Girls like me. I have cool cars. Blah 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 blah. And then I do this iboga thing, and it was rocking me because I still had this ego thing, right? But it showed me it wasn't my neighborhood's fault I turned out this way. It wasn't my dad's fault that I turned out this way. It was me making decisions that held me strongly accountable. And I was like, fuck. Like, that's the hard part. What I mean is, like, that self-accountability that you get slapped with when you work on yourself. But that is the place to start. That is where you get agency to actually change. So if you're living in a fantasy world, like, no, it wasn't me, it's just the world's fault, you can't change. You have to own what you can own. I'm not saying take on other people's shit and just, beat yourself up over it. What I'm saying is you need to have that accountability at the start. That's the first thing I do in any situation that's fucked up. If even like a fight, with a partner or whoever, it's like, what did I do to own this? Like, what did I do to cause this? Because that's what it taught me through this path and through that. And as soon as I became a drug dealer because I was a hurt little boy and I wanted to be cool, and I was bullied in high school. So I didn't want to be bullied anymore. And I wanted to have money, and I wanted to be one of the cool kids and liked and validated and get girls. So I went to this because I didn't know any better. And then I went deeper into it because I got addicted to the power. And now I see that's not actually a great way to live, and it's just built on a facade. And I see that actually who I really am is someone who's deeply caring and loving and wants to be like a soft guy. I don't actually want to be this hardcore blah 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 guy. That's not me. It really isn't. And I had to see myself for that, and that loop into it helped me take responsibility. And it's not all my fault, but definitely choosing that path is my responsibility. It is my fault. So that then allowed me to change. Because as soon as you take a stance, okay, you know what? I own that I did this. Now I want to do this. There's the path of power that you get your agency back. And then only then you can make change, when you're accountable for yourself, right? So anytime you're going through some shit with, like, say, with the business stuff that was going on for you, you don't beat yourself up, but you become accountable right away. What did I do to cause this? And that is a stance of power right then and there, to be like, I did this because I had these, and maybe I picked the wrong business partner because I didn't fully ask if we align in these issues first. Just an example. I don't know really about the situation. And then you can learn from that, because, okay, well, I see that's important. I see how I caused it. I will apologize or just take agency for this space, take responsibility. And then I'll learn from that and not do that again. And then you got power, you got wealth of experience now. And that shit that happened to you became depth. And that's like the route of personal development, being fucking harder, but also in the long run way better.
Yeah. And I feel like when you were saying you did those things, it was that it fulfilled what you wanted at the time, but it didn't obviously fulfill what you, well, even at the time, probably what you needed as well. But then that's a question that I look at now, is like, what do you want and what do you need? Yeah. And there's no reason you can't have both. Yeah. But if they're very different, then there's going to be those problems. We do have to wrap up, but there's one thing here that you've posted. We won't ever be fixed. We only expand. Why?
I feel like we're humans. We're always going to have flaws. We'll never be perfect. I mean, maybe when you're enlightened, but that's it's a tall order. That's a tall task. I think it's possible in, our soul's journeys in many lifetimes. Maybe that's the point of this all. Fuck do I know. But we expand to be able to take and hold what's happened to us, and hold the dysfunction or the trauma or the chaos. Our ability to take on more is what actually happens. Like, just like in business, when you first start out, I had to start out with a small business, and opening that, it was stressful times. It was cool. I did it. But then I expanded and I had more businesses. That's more stress that comes your way. But I've expanded my ability and my capacity to handle the stress at that level. And that's what happens with us, is we're not going to really fix what's gone on for us, but we have the ability to expand our emotional capacity to handle those dysfunctional emotional currents that come in. So we've expanded. We can hold it. That means then we won't react the same way. We'll respond. It's still going to happen. We're still going to feel probably triggered, but we've expanded our ability to actually handle the situation. And so that's what I think is a beautiful way to look at it, is just keep expanding, being able to hold more. This is a big thing with men in relationships, me especially, is I wasn't able to handle or hold an emotional volatility from a woman. It was not okay for them to freak out. Like, it's like, no, man, I'm busy. I don't want to hear you bitching at me. And that was like how I used to think. And it was just like, no, they need to be quiet or loving, take care of me. Don't be a headache. That was what I said a lot. You're being a headache right now, man. Like, and I realized I was fucking immature. And that we have to be able to expand our ability to hold a woman's emotions, because they're emotional creatures. That's just wired in their DNA, and that's beautiful about them, because they're able to feel, and we need that. That's why we loved our moms so much. They'd be able to be like, they're there when you're emotionally going through it. They could hold us through that. Whereas our dads will be like, don't be, slap you. Why are you crying? Like the worst, like on that end of it. It's like there's no emotional sensitivity there. It's a rock. Not everybody's dad, but mine. Whereas mom would, coddle me in a nice way, and then when you need it, right? So it's like we need that. We need their emotions. That comes with the good and the bad. That is, that's why a lot of us, we want out of a partner, is that emotional safety. But if we can't expand ourselves to hold the emotions that they bring, man, like you're not gonna have a good relationship. And I really had to learn that, is I need to be able to hold that. It doesn't mean I have to fix it. Yeah. That's the other thing. I don't have to fix what they're going through. They can be freaking out over some stupid shit, and it be like completely pointless. They're just in their emotional loop. Happens. Yeah. We don't have to fix it. We can just be, okay, I understand what you're feeling. Like I get it. Or what can I do to help? Or do you want to just talk about it? And then you put on your headphones, they don't see them, and you just let them talk about it. I'm just kidding. You have to be able to hold the emotions. You have to be able to hold those. To allow the relationship to expand. You have to expand your capacity to hold the emotions. And that's where it's in business, it's in relationships, in personality, also with your own emotions. Because your emotions will never kill you. They are a wave in the ocean of yourself. They are within you, right? This is my buddy Dave talked about this in his meditation course. And so when you're going through an emotional volatility, you don't have to fix it. You don't have to, you can just expand to be able to hold it. And that's kind of the point of what I meant out of that, is I'll always have these patterns and trauma in me. I'm always going to have this intense stuff that I've been through. It's never going to go away, but I've expanded my ability and I can see over it. Just like if you've been through some pretty fucked up stuff, well, it still happened, but now you see it and you've expanded your viewpoint, right? Yeah. You see it from above. And you're like, okay, I get it. It happened. I'm different now. I've expanded. That's kind of what I meant out of that.
Yeah. Man, thank you so much. Like, there's so many nuggets in this, and from Red Bull enemas to the self-coaching, like all those things. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here for all of it. And it shows so much about you. But, I just want to say, thank you for being you. Thank you for going through all your shit, but also sharing it and using that with your Dharma to impact others. Because I've gotten so much from your journey even before we've had this conversation.
Cool. I'm happy to hear that.
To be here, to be able to do this is I feel like I've met a brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone that's out here for genuine reasons to actually impact people. And it shows in what you do, but also who you are and the energy that you have. So
thank you.
Yeah, man, thank you so much. And even the fact that you said yes to me, I'm not, Instagram famous or anything like that, right?
You're gem, bro. I could tell.
But that's it. Even just being that, I'm so grateful. And I've had such a great time, and thank you so much for everything.
My pleasure, bro. This was a blast. I'm happy that we did it, and I hope everybody that's listening had a few laughs. Maybe try a Red Bull enema, but also feel empowered to coach themselves, empowered to expand themselves, and got basically what I really hope is everybody got just a little perspective shift. I think that's the best thing that we can have in life, is just see a thing a little bit different. And you're like, okay, I can act different now. And I hope that you got a few nuggets out of that, just to see the world a little different. And if you guys want to connect, I answer my DMs clearly.
Yeah. What do you mean? I felt special. Now I don't.
I don't link up with many people. I get a lot of DMs, but I like to help.
So don't say hello.
Don't just say hey. Just fucking. I won't respond to you if you just say hey. Get to the point. But if you need some help, I'm happy to, because I know the more that I am able to give from the heart, the universe gives to me. It's very, very clear. Random awesome shit happens to me all the time, but I know it's because I care. Like I want to care for people, and the more I actually care for people, the better I feel. It's fucking selfish. So it's like, I'm a narcissist in that space, but just fucking around. So yeah, please guys, shoot me a message or connect with me for coaching or branding or whatever. I do lots of weird and wonderful things. And my Instagram's ink_pray_love, ink pray love, because Julia Roberts saved my life with Eat Pray Love. After that Iboga trip, I watched Eat Pray Love, sitting there shivering in a blanket, and I was like, I'm gonna go there. I booked a flight 2 days later by myself to Ubud, Bali, and all this happened.
I love that.
Awesome.
Man, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And all the links will be in the show notes below. Right. Definitely go check out Aren, all the things that he's doing, upcoming programs, all that, which sounds really exciting. And thank you so much for joining in. You'll be hearing more about this and seeing all of this. And if you're watching or listening, wherever you are doing that, please leave a comment. We love hearing responses, but also questions and anything like that. Share it, put it on your story so other people can get inspired by it as well.
Oh, I'd love to hook people up out of your listeners, like to give them a discount for my new program if they want it. We can just mention this, and it's actually called the Way of the Heart Warrior. And in that sense, because I mentioned that a little bit, is us conscious entrepreneurs who want to leave an impact in the world, but connect with other conscious entrepreneurs, actually increase our network and connections, so we have that squad family across the planet of people who want to make the world a better place, that want to build a legacy for themselves, so they knew that they really did this life well and expand their emotional and mental capacity. So it's like mindfulness, business, networking, inner game, and legacy. And so it's just that, that's just what it is. It's just a mastermind for people to come together and grow themselves in a setting where they're meeting their new business partners, their new best friends, their adventure homies globally, and then it'll lead into us continuously having retreats and events in the space of making an impact and making this life worth it. That we fully did it. We did it as much as we could. So you got to come, bro. It'd be fun to have you there.
I'd love to.
Awesome.
I'd love to. Man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Reach across, yeah. I love it. You know where to find us. Thank you so much for joining in.
Peace,
and
homies.
Take care. Peace.